we're going to be doing the charcoal again. This time I'm going to do a couple modifications. The last time, you remember, I put the charcoal, actually the paint can on top of the heat source, and it didn't heat up quite enough due to the wind situation. And after I put the deflector shield on it really heated up quite nicely and sped the process up. But all the charcoal did not turn black all the way through. There's still a couple wood colored pieces in there. So I think we're going to do some modifications and try this project again. I was very happy with the first time, but I think we can do it better. So what we're going to be needing is I picked up a couple can tins here. The first thing we need to do is we're going to go ahead and cut the bottoms out of them. And since I'm at the far end of the lot, we won't be using any electricity. We're going to be doing this all manual. And I found a pair of really old tin snips in the shed when I was cleaning it out. So we'll see how this works. So let's get started. First thing is we're going to go ahead and cut this top open. Now I'm going to be saving these tops because you can make a lot of neat stuff out of them. There is one completely emptied out. Go ahead and open this one up. Then we're simply just going to set those aside. I'm pretty sure I got a use for them. Alright, we have two can tins opened up. Next thing, and I'm not sure how sharp these are, we're just going to simply cut along the seam here. And they're dull. Well, not too bad though. Now we got both our cans cut open. Next thing we do is we need to decide on how big they're going to be to fit around the paint can. Just going to open them up just a little bit. Not too bad at all. The same with this one. Now be careful when you're doing it. These edges are quite sharp. You might want to wear some gloves. Now that we got our size kind of figured out, double check. Actually, that's going to be perfect. So I want it to fit on the top of the burner, but have enough gap there to let the air through and the heat come up to the top. The last time, it was deflected a little bit more of the heat down towards the tank that I like it too, and that's just kind of dangerous. Now that we got our size figured out, we're simply just going to try to line these up as best as possible. Perfect. And I'm just going to zap one hole here real quick, and we're going to throw a pop rivet in that. And we're going to go ahead and even this bottom piece out here and zap pop rivet in that. don't worry, you don't have to be perfect. There we go. Now I'll probably add a couple more just for extra support here in a little bit. Now let's go ahead and measure our sizes out. Decide where we're going to put the pop rivet on this side here. I'm thinking okay, I've got it. We're going to go with right about here. Zap a hole through there real quick. Double check and make sure we got this lined up quite nicely. Yes, excellent. Fits over the paint can. Zap another hole through there. We're going to check one last time. See, that looks excellent. Check with the stove. The next step is we got to put something to keep this from falling all the way through. Not a problem. Man, got me 4 bolts and nuts. Actually, okay, 3 bolts and nuts. I'm not sure where the other one went. What we're going to simply do is just zap a hole through the bottom of this and use it to hold the shield up. So first we're going to put a pilot hole through there. It's going to be one of them days, I can tell already. I'm thinking right here. Here looks good. Now you want to try to make these even as possible, because if you don't, they'll kind of sit on there crooked and it just defeats the whole purpose. We're just going to switch our bits out and go to a bigger size. Now the reason we drilled a pilot hole, because these big bits going through 10 just did not work out really well. They kind of jump all over the place on it. We're going to go ahead and loosely put our bolts and nuts in there and just going to set it on top and make sure it's about as even as we can get it. And I'm sure we're going to have to do a little finessing as usual. Oh, in case you're wondering, yes, we did use stainless steel top rivets. You don't want to use aluminum because due to the heat this thing is going to be faced with, the aluminum will tend to melt and come undone. And probably about the last thing you want to have happen. Hot paint can on there. Actually, oh no, this don't look half bad. First, let's find out when we set it on top and see how even it is. I'm gonna honestly say that's a first. Fits in there quite nicely. Let's see if our paint can lines up. Huh. I think we're ready. Alright, let's go ahead and tighten these up and get ready to make some charcoal. I was surprised. Usually the things don't line up for me on the very first try. And as usual, here comes the wind. And part of the fence just fell over. Let's go ahead and get this lit. Now these tanks usually last about 3 hours. We have no leaks here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and let this run the entire 3-hour period. We're going to kind of keep an eye on it. Because that is definitely directed heat. The first thing that comes out, of course, is your white smoke. Then it's supposed to go to gray smoke. Then after the gray smoke, it's supposed to shoot a fireball out, and then it's done. So hopefully we can duplicate that this time. I already got my paint can right here. And remember last time we put 3 holes in there? And I thought that was too many. This time I'm going to go ahead and do 1 hole. And you could always add another one later on down the road. Let's just see how well this one works out. And I went ahead and pre-did my briquettes. These are basically just pine. I think this was a 1x1. I just kind of cut them up a little bit more. Go ahead and load this up. Now remember, this still has the coating on the inside, and that's going to become toxic as it heats up. So you do not want to breathe those fumes in. Here we go. Now all we do is basically just wait. We're probably, I want to say, not even more than 15 minutes in. As you can see, this thing has just come to life. And the last time I attempted it, we did not get this much smoke out of the top of it. And we're getting, of course, the tar buildup. And somebody told me that this actually should light and burn. Let's see. Nope, not yet. So basically we're getting white smoke, and that would be all the water and moisture in the wood coming out. We're 45 minutes in, and this thing is just coming to life. I mean, we're further along now than the first time I've actually made the charcoal. With the heat shield, it's working great. We've got nice black tar building up there, and just a steady stream of white smoke kind of puffing into gray smoke. So I'm thinking maybe 2 hours instead of 3. Let's keep an eye on that and see what happens. We're at 1 hour and 15 minutes in. The white smoke is now turning into a blue color. We've got a small tar ball building up there. The heat is just tremendous around this thing. I mean, it's really working out great. You can actually see the lid of the can starting to sink in. But I've been periodically checking the propane tank to make sure the top of it doesn't get too hot. Because if it does, gets hot to the touch, then I'm going to go ahead and call it, because I don't want to have no accidents. So if you're using a propane tank in a setup like I'm doing, I would highly suggest that you check the top of the tank and make sure it doesn't overheat. So we're just going to keep on waiting. Well, we just got our little fireball and we are done. All we got to do now is we're going to go ahead and cut the stove off and gently take this off here. If I can get my glove on. I'm going to go ahead and set it on this can, and what we're going to do next, basically we need to extinguish the oxygen in there. Now you can flip it over on the ground, but I'm simply just going to pour dirt over the top of the hole and smash that down. I do believe our heat shield just worked great. I mean, it directed the heat on there, it cut the burn time down, and it increased the heat on the paint can itself. As you can see, it's all evenly discolored from the heat ring. We're going to let that sit to 2 to 3 hours, or when it's cool to the touch. We're going to open it up and see what we have. Well, here we go. I'm very anxious to see if my second attempt at making charcoal turned out as good as I hoped it to be. The heat deflector works great. The stove works great. Let's see if my charcoal making skills worked out great. And the can is definitely cool to the touch, so I know we're ready. Clear the dirt off the top of this. Sounds good. Here we go. Now, there's all the tar or carbon. Oh, I think we did a much better job. Let's pour this out and take a better look. Oh, yeah. I do not see any wood color in it. I'm actually pretty excited. That's some really grade A charcoal there. I'm very happy with the results we got. Just a couple of things out there. I mean, the heat shield just worked phenomenally. We got the temperature up where we need it, and it only took, I want to say, about 2 hours, 40 minutes tops to get this type of charcoal. And the last time it took almost 3 hours, 10 minutes, and the tank almost burned out on me. Well, I'm very, very happy with the results. Can't wait to try this out. In fact, I think I might try it out tonight, but it's going to be another video. Well, I hope this gave you something to think about and try on your own. Oh, and another thing I want to mention, though, if you do want to make a big batch of charcoal, I'm thinking the propane cylinder is just not going to work out great. You probably want to get like a 5-gallon drum, put a hole in it, put your wood in there, and throw it inside a burn barrel. Because, these cost, $5? Buy a bag of charcoal for $3. So, not very economical, but a very great little project to try. Well, as always, thanks for watching. Ah yes, time for a little bonus footage. I bet you're curious what I was going to do with that charcoal. There's the oven. There's the charcoal. And there is a little baby apple pie. I just couldn't resist to try it out and see how, some of it kind of escaped. Try it out and see how well it worked. And here are pork chops. Well, those are pork steaks, my mistake.